Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING. Get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator exclusively on DRF Bets. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Buer. It's Wood Memorial Saturday at Aqueduct. Let's kick off the graded stakes action with race number 5. This is the grade 3 Distaff. Fillies and mares going 7/8 of a mile. $150,000 is the purse. As we take a look at this field, we see a very familiar face. Chad Brown is bringing back the 4 search results. Last year's grade 1 Acorn Stakes winner for her 4-year-old debut. Mike, he could not have found a better spot.
Yeah, it really is a nice spot for her to start back here. It's a pretty long layoff, so we'll see if that affects her at all. She just sort of towers over this field, Dan, on class and form, and it feels like if she's, even close to her best off of this layoff here, she's going to be an absolute handful.
She could be a big factor in this division this year, not only at shorter distances, but maybe even longer. Remember, she only lost by a neck in the Kentucky Oaks last year. She won the Acorn, then she ran the test. We'll get to her in a second, but let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector for this year's edition of the Distaff Handicap. We're not expecting a fast pace. Dealing Justice, the number 2, is a quick horse. I think she's going to be up close to the pace, but search results, the 4 won't be far away.
Yeah, she's not going to be far away. She has a good tactical speed. Even the 3 Zagel, who's at the sort of the back of the pack, I don't think she's going to be that far away either. And in a lot of ways, they're 2 of the horses to beat in here, Dan. But Dealing Justice could certainly make the lead. I mean, that's her best running style, and I'm sure they're going to try to get her there.
The number 1, Easy to Bless, on paper looks very, very good. She's won 8 of 16 lifetime starts. She's earned 90 Beyer speed figures in 2 of her last 3 races, including this race, the Extra Heat at Aqueduct on March the 26th. And she got right up close to the pace. She dominated this field. Now, really, the racing form should have a designation for races like the Extra Heat because it's not a stakes race per se. It's a starter stake.
Yeah, this is like a claiming crown race for the New York horses here. I think this one was for horses who would run for a tag of 25,000 or less over the past year or so. Good spot for Easy to Bless, and she got back to one of her good races here, Dan. I mean, she didn't even really break well in that race, sort of unprepared for the start and was away last, but just rushed up on that field and won very easily. Nice performance, big step up in class here.
Jimmy Ferraro's done a very nice job with this daughter of Flat Out. Jackie Davis on the 4-year-old filly. The number 2 is Dealing Justice, another one coming off a win. This would be the 2 other than Allowance Field last time out, going 6.5 at the Big A. Let's watch Dealing Justice. And again, she is speed. She controlled this race from the start. She draws away in the stretch. And the 3rd place finisher would come back to win a $62,500 optional claimer with an 85 Beyer. Game effort.
Yeah, game effort. This was a good spot to have this horse, though. She was 9-2 in this field. It looked like she was going to be able to make the lead, which is what, she's at her absolute best when she can make the lead, and it looked like she was going to be able to do it here. And she was also just getting back over a fast track for the first time in almost a year, Dan. She just doesn't run well on wet tracks, and her first 3 starts off the layoff are all wet tracks.
Another rock-solid horse coming off the layoff for a top barn is the 3, Zagel. Joel Rosario for Todd Pletcher. This horse is a bit of an enigma wrapped in a riddle, Mike. She won one of the slower graded stakes races in recent memory when she won the Forward Gal early last year with something like a 66 Beyer speed figure. And then after a couple of bad races, which made you think, boy, that Forward Gal was really a slow race. She pops a big win in the Mother Goose. Last 2 starts of 2021 might have been in a bit too tough.
Yeah, probably. I mean, her test just really wasn't that good. And not that search results, who was 3rd that day, not that she ran a great race, but this horse just sort of down on the inside the entire way. They're never found any kick through the stretch. They're disappointing there. I'll give her a pass for the Beldame just because I don't think she wants to go 9 furlongs. Listen, up until that test, she was 3 for 3 around 1 turn. As you mentioned, the Forward Gal was an ugly race, but she won it. And then she took a big step forward in the Mother Goose. She's not impossible here, Dan. I don't love her, but she's not impossible.
Search Results is up next. Even money on our colleague David Aragona's morning line, deservedly so. Never off the board from 6 starts, a Grade 1 stakes winner, close runner-up in the Kentucky Oaks. And Chad mentioned to our colleague Dave Brenning, who wrote the race advance here, he felt this filly might have been a little bit over the top after the Acorn. He ran her in the test anyway. She underperformed at a short price. It also didn't help that there was just no pace on that day, and there was a very sharp speedster up front, Bella Sophia.
Yeah, she didn't run her best race there. She also had a pretty solid excuse in that race, just sort of raiding back off of a slow pace and then just not really kicking that hard behind a horse who just had to jump on her at that point. She didn't run great in the test. I'm not going to hold it against her. Obviously, any one of her prior 5 starts. She shows up with one of those races in here, she's probably going to win.
Kept waiting, the number 5. Kendrick Carmouche takes the mount on a mare that has some tactical speed. She began her career racing exclusively on turf. What were they waiting for? Her last 2 races on dirt, albeit over wet tracks, were very, very good. Maybe she's been a dirt horse all along, and she's okay on turf. Let's watch her last race against New York. This is the Broadway on February the 13th. And Kept Waiting is worked out a decent enough trip in this race, Mike, and is eventually going to surge on through and win.
Yes, had a decent trip in this race. Over behind horses on this wet track, but she didn't seem to be bothered by that. Got the seam to run through in the stretch, and it's just an easy win. It's sort of, it almost looks identical to the allowance win prior to that, Dan, off that little bit of a layoff in her dirt debut. Just sat good trips and won very easily. Now they give her a big class test.
She's handled 7 before on turf, so the distance shouldn't be an issue. And she's tactical enough to adapt to any kind of pace scenario. Glass Ceiling completes this field. Great job by Charlie Baker. Took this horse for $40,000 last spring. Turned her into a graded stakes winner. She's won 3 in a row and found a nice spot in the bar with Richie last. Love the ride Dylan Davis gave her, Mike. This one didn't break very well. Dylan realized there wasn't a lot of pace, and he just sent her on through early to get position right outside of Jakarta, and they took it down to the wire.
Yeah, you're right. A good ride. The trip really worked out here. It looked like at the top of the stretch, like she was going to win pretty easily, but she's got to dig down deep here, and she ultimately prevails with a 95 buyer. You can't knock her recent form. You mentioned the great job Charlie Baker's done since he claimed her. She didn't improve right away, but she's really improved in her last, 4 or 5 starts. In excellent form right now. I have a tough time buying into horses like this, Dan, who, she just wasn't very good for her entire life, and now all of a sudden she's a graded stakes winner. She catches her 2 main rivals off the layoff here. That's a bonus.
It's a fair point. 8-5 is really light against this field. We're going to take a look at our top picks. I need Glass Ceiling to drift. I think the Search Results is the best horse, most talented horse in the race. Yeah. She's also coming off a long layoff. Zagella's coming off a long layoff. Glass Ceiling is sharp. She likes 7 furlongs. I can't take 2-1 even on her in this field, however. So maybe I'll just have to sit on my hands. But I'm expecting her to give another good effort. Search Results wins here. It's probably onto the Derby City Distaff.
Yeah, it's a good spot for Ched to bring her back. I'm just going to take her, Dan. I didn't really find anybody that I wanted to play against her in this spot. I'm not going to bet her, but I'm not going to bet against her.
4-3-6-2 for Mike, 6-1-3-4 for me. It's the return of Grade 1 stakes winner Search Results in the Distaff Handicap at the Big A on Wood Memorial Saturday. Good luck.